Hi, everybody. Before we start the episode, content warning for discussions of sexual assault. We kind of start right out the gate up until about 20 minutes in discussing the beginning of the episode and then also toward the end of the podcast as well, talking about ongoing plot things. But other than that, enjoy. Hello and welcome in, all you O9ers, PCHers, junior private detectives, Hearst College whatevers, and happy Thanksgiving. And welcome into Life on Mars, the Veronica Mars Rewatch podcast. We go through episode by episode. I'm Brenton.
And I'm Emily.
We're here to talk about Season 3, Episode 6, High Infidelity.
Hi.
Infidelity.
Is it spelled with a GH?
No, just... That
H-I.
would be that, yeah, HI.
So it's like hola infidelity.
Yeah, exactly. The other one would be it would make more sense if they did HIGH, but maybe they'd get a cease and desist from High Infidelity, the movie with John Cusack.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know that movie.
It's like one of those 90s, or I think it was like 2000, but like those 90s like hangout movies, like indie comedies, but it's like all about like he's like a record store dude and like trying to find love and like I don't know. It's not great. I don't have particular fondness for it, and he's like looking back on it, I think nowadays the assessment of the movie is that it's sexist.
I mean, I would argue that probably any movie that's not current that involves a record store dude is like 9 times out of 10 going to be sexist.
Yeah, and it's all about like his dating life and stuff, and just like, you know, the way they talk about women and like
like a poor man's 500 Days of Summer.
Yeah, but like not quite that way. But so it's like along the lines of like a Clerks or something like that, or a Slacker.
Got it.
So it's like, hey, we're just people that hang out at this record shop, and then like here's our lives. My other there was like a genre in the 90s where all that was like kind of like Empire Records or something like that, but like mainly focused around John Cusack.
Got it.
But yeah, some housekeeping up top. This is episode 50. Which is actually our 50.
So excited I sneezed.
It's actually our 51st episode.
Ooh.
Because we did an episode 0, and I didn't catch that last week. So here we are, episode 50.
Woo! Congrats.
Yeah. And like I said, happy Thanksgiving for people in the U.S. eating turkey or whatever. Hopefully you are not with your family.
Well, I mean, hopefully you're not with your extended family.
True. I guess you never know. But hopefully you are not putting other people in danger or yourselves by hosting a big Thanksgiving dinner.
Yes. Hopefully you were able to stay home, stay safe, stay in the bubble that you were already a part of. Whatever your quarantine is, that's under like 4 people or 5 or however big your family is. I don't know. I hate to say that. And then someone's like, I have 4 siblings. Sorry, you guys have maxed out. You may not have Thanksgiving at your own house.
Kick them out. One's got to go.
But yeah. Hopefully everyone's staying healthy, happy, and safe and not getting COVID because our hospitals are busy.
Yeah. They don't have beds. So, yeah.
Let's not get sick, friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but hopefully you are enjoying time off anyway and enjoying the holiday and a nice meal.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, eat your Chinese takeout or your turkey leg that you ordered or your rotisserie chicken from Safeway. We're not here to judge you.
Yeah, perfect.
Ooh, if I didn't have food allergies, you know what I would have done for like this Thanksgiving? Like we're going to make food because we're extra. And but if it was just like you and me and neither one of us cooked, would order like a rotisserie chicken and then like a bunch of like deli sides, like macaroni salad and like pasta salad. I fucking love pasta salad.
It's not a bad idea.
Or potato salad. Oh, yeah.
Just go wild in the deli section.
Ooh, or you know like how delis always have those weird potato wedges that are like fried exactly how they fry the chicken, so they taste a little like the chicken.
Yeah.
Ugh. 10 out of 10. We should try to emulate those at home.
I like that idea.
I don't know how we're going to do that without having like a grease fire, though, because I do feel like you need to have a certain level of grease.
You really got to fry them, I guess.
And a certain level of ventilation that we don't have the luxury of because there's no windows in our kitchen.
Yeah, probably not a good idea. I don't know. We can see about air frying and get the next best thing.
Yeah, I think that takes a lot of the extra fats out of it, though.
Totally.
But I suppose if it doesn't start a fire, it's probably a better way to go about it. Don't start a fire this Thanksgiving.
Get as close to it as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this episode
sucks.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Not of the podcast. We're great. We're always great.
Now, but hi, Infidelity. I don't know why this title bugs me so much.
There's
something about it that just bugs me.
I barely recall the titles.
Yeah. But this one in particular just seems very lazy. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it starts with some real shit.
It starts with some absolute horse shit. So we start with Dean O'Dell with Claire in his office with her like lawyer, dad. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't. Really...
I think it was her legal counsel, if we're being candid.
Mm-hmm.
And
hopefully
the dean's like, yeah, she lied about the rape because the guy in the photo is her boyfriend, and it's like, women are often abused by their significant others.
Yeah.
Men are problematic. And how dare you say that just because there's a photo of her with someone she already knew, like that doesn't mean that it didn't happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And that it's like implied that it's like, it's all right here in Miss Marr's report. It's like, oh my God. And Veronica is the one that put together a report on it. It's like, well, case closed. It's like, oh God, that sucks.
Yeah, where really what happened is Veronica was just like, oh, this is the new fact is that she knew him.
Right.
But so she lied to Veronica, but like that's it. That's not necessarily a reason to accuse her of being a liar in terms of like being assaulted.
Totally. In a better episode, it could be more of, why would she lie? Like,
and it's like,
why is she trying to protect him?
Or she ran away because she was like, how, like, that's so baffling to me. Like, you couldn't respond. She was just shocked.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Oh, right. Because she wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Mine doesn't necessarily make sense. But exploring what the trauma would actually mean of a significant other that way.
Mm-hmm.
But no, she gets expelled. The head of the paper gets removed as the head of the paper because she's trying to stand up to the dean, and then swears revenge on Veronica. And that's all this is for this episode. We just dropped this.
Yeah. I hate when television uses a girl that cried rape plot because it's so uncommon for that to actually happen that then it kind of like normalizes the idea that it happens, if that makes sense.
Yep.
When instead we need to be normalizing the fact that it doesn't happen and that women are often hurt or assaulted physically, sexually, emotionally by the people they know.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. This was one of our my big learning moments when we first started dating, of like going to see Gone Girl and like you being fucking...
I was livid. I hate that movie. Mm-hmm. I think Gone Girl is an abomination.
Yeah.
I will go on record saying that.
I mean, you're completely right. So I was like, it's just like a fun twist. It's just like a inversion of like these usual kind of things. And then you're like, no, it's literally taking this woman, she cries rape, and that she's like the woman who's supposedly a victim is actually this like Machiavellian mastermind. Sorry if you haven't seen the movie, but
spoiler alert for Gone Girl. But also, yeah, it also normalizes that like that there's always something wrong with the girl that's the cool girl. Mm-hmm. Like a girl couldn't just possibly be cool with things. Right. Like she has to have a reason and she has to have a plot and she has to be sinister. It's very what society has done to Taylor Swift for the last decade.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically like, you know, like that 1989 like Blank Space, like where it's like she wrote a song about a character that the media had made her out to be, and she's like, oh, I could, like, this is a fun character, but this isn't a real person.
Mm-hmm.
Because a real person doesn't give this many fucks. Like no real people are sitting there like, oh yes, I'm going to push them away, and then they come back, and then I make a plot to get them back, but then they get too close, so then I push them away, but then I cry, but then I trap a new one in my web.
Yeah.
Like it's
very misguided.
It's misogynistic.
Yeah, in terms of like what people do to contort themselves to project a perfect image or to stay in a perfect image, and there's a much better way to go about that than how Gone Girl portrays it, because it's also very one-sided, even when it's trying to show that he's bad too, but he's like
but she's worse.
Exactly, he's a victim.
Yeah.
He's trapped. But yeah, so I wanted to bring that up because that was something I had to learn.
I gave you a very long lecture, and I was like, well, he's either going to leave me or he's going to listen.
Yeah. What'd you say? Just kidding.
Anybody got a bedroom for Brenton to live in?
I'll get tested beforehand, please. I can't. I have a 2-door. I can't sleep in
it. Well, you could. You just have to live in it alone.
Yeah, totally. But,
Don't sleep in the car.
No, thank you.
No.
But yeah, I was like, oh, I feel like this is a good connection to past history and another good example, or another bad example.
Yeah. And there's a lot of things like that where it's like, and of course women can play characters that are sinister and multifaceted and mean and scary and vindictive, but like you can't pretend like it's groundbreaking, because women are always painted as the villain. The original Disney villains are all women. Yeah.
And then when you're also taking real world scenarios and playing with it,
and acting like it's groundbreaking.
Yeah. And that it's something that like it's that you're playing with an assumption people already have and use against women. That's bad.
I can attest that out of the mind games played in every relationship I had, I was never the one who played the game or like started the game. Sometimes I played because someone plays chess against you, you're gonna move your piece. But men tend to always be the ones that are scheming or planning or being the vindictive ones in relationships, and it's because of this misogynistic energy around like women can't possibly get one up on me. Women couldn't possibly be smarter than me. Women couldn't possibly, like, I couldn't possibly feel obligated to a woman. Like they are lesser than me. And that's it's so ingrained in our culture that I don't even think men consciously know that they think it.
Totally.
And so it takes like active thought that it's like, okay, I recognize that this does happen, and it's in a place that we gravitate towards, so how do I correct it? And then, as you do that, it becomes habit, and then you become a better person.
Yeah. And it's not the woman trying to trap you in a Stepford wife sort of life, as in Gone Girl.
Yes.
And then, that she would then cry rape, as she does multiple times in that movie. But yeah, if you need another David Fincher movie that's better, Emily brought up Games. You could watch The Game. Michael Douglas from like 2003. Michael Douglas? I think I have that right. And Sean Penn. So there you go. Go watch that.
Or you could just watch something by a woman.
Yeah, that's too.
That's true?
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, so we have the girl that cried rape, and it annoys me, and I'm angry, and I could go on and on about how this is a problem everywhere, but you all get it. I'm preaching to the choir.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the episode then opens the trap door, and it all drops away, and we all forget about it. And move on to Wallace's cheating scandal.
On a test.
Yes. What do you think?
Sounds like Wallace is cheating on a lady.
Well, that's just modern day. I saw it in the paper.
Oh. So then Wallace goes into the office with Dean O'Dell, with his mechanical engineering teacher. And he's like, yeah, we don't usually let athletes into mechanical engineering, and especially one with this low of test scores. And I'm like, this guy's like a fucking asshole. Then why'd you let him in the class?
Right.
But
we
also,
don't usually let athletes in mechanical engineering. This is an entry-level class.
The time commitment or whatever. And then it's like, especially one with this low of test scores. And it's like, well, did you let other people in with that low of test scores? Because
that's crazy. Like, if the kid doesn't keep up, the kid doesn't keep up. But you don't like gate an entry-level class because he's an athlete.
So they're willing to let Wallace like late drop the class, but then he'd have to like change his major completely.
Right. And Wallace is conflicted.
He's torn. So Veronica is in Landry's class, and it's in a different classroom. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't understand this class. Does it move?
We gotta move. Yeah. There was a last minute move. He sent out an email.
Oh, for sure. And she is doing well in criminology. That's all I wrote.
Oh, so everybody did horrible on a paper except for one, which is attached to the board, and that happens to be Veronica's. Or no, sorry, not attached to the board. Apologies. It is handed to her.
But there's like a copy of it on the board.
Exactly. Yeah, and so he said like Landry is like, hey, like step up, except for this one person, and then he invites to talk to her, and wants to talk to her after class, so they go grab lunch. And he offers to mentor her. He would really like her in the whatever his like program is.
He wants to be her faculty advisor.
Thank you.
He wants her to like major in criminology.
Which I think she was leaning towards anyway. But you gotta you see the freshman, you want to steer him toward it.
Yeah. So then Keith is like, we go back to Veronica and Keith at home, and he's like, sounds like a hell of a guy. Is he replacing me? I'm like, oh, jealous dad.
I like that aspect specifically because it's like, damn, I've been the only one that's been doing this criminology stuff in your life, and you got this new guy at this fancy college.
Yeah, you go to school. It's not even that far. It's 2 exits from here.
Oh, right, I forgot about that.
We love a sassy Keith.
Yes, we do.
And then his phone rings, and it's Harmony, and she's like, I'd love to keep talking to you. Want to go to the Noir Festival with me? My husband's out of town and he doesn't like these or whatever. And Keith is like, yes, I'd love to go on a date with you as a friend.
Just he knows what he's doing deep down. He's steering right into it.
But he likes her.
Yeah. But she's still got the ring.
She's still got the ring. She's still got the man.
Yeah.
Then Veronica's TA wants to see her.
Yeah, he found her phone number and called her into his office hours.
Yeah, which if my TA ever called my cell phone, I probably would have shat myself. Like, what are you doing? How'd you get my number?
Right.
Do they give this out to all the TAs? And if so...
It's creepy as fuck.
Yeah, we don't have that kind of relationship.
And he's trying to be like, but I am also the master PI. And it's just like, no, that's creepy as fuck, dude. Like, you gotta have some vision on this. This is an 18-year-old like woman who you like tracked down her phone number and called her.
And you've been really weird to her the whole time. Like,
yes.
you are acting like the person she will be looking up in her criminology class.
Absolutely. Yeah, your face is going to be hanging up in a police station if you're not careful, dude, bud.
And he's like, I want you to come in because your classmate turned your paper in for plagiarism. And it's like, excuse me, what is this group project?
Yeah,
plagiarism catcher. And then he's like, we'll need to take this to Landry's attention. And Landry's like, what will you need to take to my attention? And so Veronica instead is like, I'm going to figure this out.
Yep. As Veronica do.
So Veronica's mad. She goes to lunch. Piz sees her. He's like, hey, look, I found a record sale. Want to come with me?
Yeah, he's like, he's like London Calling vinyl.
And Veronica's like, yeah, my professor gave me 3 days to prove that I didn't plagiarize. So like, cool. And he's like, well, I was going to go bowling. You want to go bowling? And so she, like with the gang. And she's like, yeah, sure. We'll go bowling with the gang. With everyone, I believe was his phrasing.
Yep.
Like, who's everyone?
Yep. And then he says, the gang. Yep. Wallace, the gang.
Yep. So then Wallace is hanging out with the team. He's at practice, and they're like, oh, it's so cool that you're allowed to late drop. Like, you should just take it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, obviously he's conflicted.
Yeah. He loves the game, but he also loves airplanes.
Yeah. And airplanes are forever, and basketball is only until you hurt yourself.
Absolutely. And especially with NCAA, they really talk up that like the majority of their athletes will go on to have a career in something else.
Yeah.
So make your money then. Play for us now.
So then, Veronica is back in her class and she's sitting there and she's like, "Excuse me, hello friends, I'm going to make a little announcement. Which one of you motherfuckers is accusing me of plagiarism?" Because
she she slams her pistol on the desk trying to rattle him.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
My concealed carry permit.
Exactly. She's got one on her ankle, pulls it out. Bam.
It's actually just a water gun. It's like bright blue.
Perfect.
Was it you?
Got a super soaker.
Exactly.
Strapped to my back.
Oh my god. And it was Ratner. He's like, "You cheated and I caught you." And
Ratner.
"I'm mad because you don't remember me even though I see you all the time, you rich girl."
Yeah, it's a very on the nose name.
Yeah, because he's a rat.
But hey, I mean, you can do worse than naming a really annoying character Ratner.
So then Veronica goes to see Wallace. And she's like, "Hi, Wallace." And he's like, "I'm not Wallace. I'm evil Wallace. Because I bought this test and I cheated or whatever." And Veronica's like, "I don't feel like you're evil Wallace." And he's like, "Should I do a mechanical engineering?" And she's like, "I don't know, Wallace. Do you want to do mechanical engineering?"
Asked and answered here, bud.
And then she's like, "I know you'll make the right decision." And then she's like, "But I need to know who you bought that test from because I need to figure out why and how someone could report my paper for plagiarism."
So I've got to go to find out the serial killer. I've got to talk to serial killers.
Yeah, it's just like interviewing Ted Bundy before you go on the trail.
Exactly. Hannibal Lecter.
That movie just makes my stomach hurt.
Apologies.
And he's like, "It's this guy named Max." So then Veronica goes to see Max and she's like, "I was hoping you can help me." And he's like, "Hot girl, ha ha ha," because that's what boys do apparently.
Yep.
That's what I've learned from this season. Oh my god, college boys like girls. Well, if they're straight. Or if they're into women, I guess. You don't have to just be straight to be into women. That's not how that works at all.
That's all right.
But
But this show is decidedly, look at all these straight boys that are like, huh, huh, huh.
Yeah, look at girls. Boobs, butts, girls.
Babes.
Ew.
Yep.
I just threw up in my mouth, I think.
You're welcome.
We have a golden rule in this household. What word do we not call each other?
Babe.
You know why?
Because it's only the pig's name.
Some pig. That's all I think of when someone says babe. I just think of the pig.
That's when they say that, like, to significant others. They're saying, "Some pig." It's code.
I mean, I do call our dog my little hog, so I'm just saying.
No, it's affection.
It's affection?
Yeah. Because it's like, it's that same thing. It's just like, look at you go.
Some pig?
Some pig.
Well, like I've told you, the best compliment I ever received as a waitress was when I worked at an ice cream place and I took someone's ice cream out to this table of little old men and one of them goes, "You have such big, beautiful baby cow eyes." And that's a compliment. I could not laugh. I was not allowed to laugh. I needed a tip from this table. They were very nice men. It was not an insult, but I was just like, "Oh no, she's going to giggle."
You're a professional.
Like, "Oh, thank you.
You held it together.
Thank you." I was 16 years old and man, she kept it together. I was a damn good waitress. I feel like that's probably why I was so very thin in high school. You know how far you walk as a waitress?
Oh,
everywhere. Yeah. It's just in circles. You just walk in circles.
I can imagine the a pedometer.
I know. I wish I'd had my Apple Watch back then. We tried to get pedometers from like the cheapy ones, but they never worked.
Right.
But anyway.
Damn technology. Yeah.
We don't refer to each other as babe. At all. Ever.
Nope.
Not even, I mean, maybe in a joke, but like even then it doesn't come out well.
No.
I just get the giggles because I just picture a cute little pig.
Yeah. Herding sheep.
I loved that movie. That movie is immediate serotonin. Just happy. I mean, except for the sad part.
For the most part, there's some sad parts.
Yeah.
Up top and interspersed.
When the mom and the mom dog gets sick.
Yeah. And when Babe is separated from his mom.
Yeah.
Mom. Pretty good, right?
That was the best. Maybe we should just read the script for Babe for an episode.
Or Babe read along.
Send us an email if you'd like to hear that at Mars Rewatch. I think we'd get taken down, but
Well, it's if it's from the Babe, if we get the Babe creator's blessing, maybe.
Yeah, or if we ask Babe himself.
That's true.
What do you think he's doing for Thanksgiving?
Rolling in slop.
But yeah, so no babes here.
Just Max.
Just Max. And he's like, yeah, I can look for where your paper was uploaded to this plagiarism site, but like, do you want me to write you a new one? And she's like, no, I wrote this paper.
Yeah. One track mind, this guy. He doesn't understand.
Well, he's trying to make a sale.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he's got a business. You know, we respect the hustle. He's grinding.
Yeah, sure.
It pops up on his plagiarism searcher thing, and it says the paper was written a year ago, but Veronica wrote it last week. Obviously,
she indeed. And he finds the username as well for the person that wrote the paper.
Yes, I don't remember what it was.
I couldn't tell you either. I didn't write it down.
Then Logan's taking a test. He goes to turn it in. When he turned it in, the TA called time. He kept writing. He finished his sentence. The TA was like, I'm not taking your test. And he's like, do you know who I am? And the TA's like, no, I don't care who you are. So then Logan's like, cool. So he throws his test in the pile and mixes them all up.
Yeah, I'm like, that was a really good move.
That was such a good move. And then Veronica's like, hey, Logan, want to go bowling with Wallace and Parker and Mac?
Which Logan is having lunch with Mercer, and it's like, great.
Yeah, don't hang out with this boy. He's bad news.
Yeah, definitely bad news.
And he's like, sure, I love bowling. And then Keith and Harmony go to the movie.
Parker is eating lunch alone, and I put a sad face. And so...
I ate alone all the time in college.
She looks sad, though.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, because, you don't have class with everyone you know.
That's true.
And I used to like to go get Subway and then sit under a tree and read. Except usually then I just text
like
people
Rory.
back. Exactly, just like Rory.
Mm-hmm. And I believe this is where Veronica invites Parker on the bowling excursion.
Yes, with everyone.
With the gang.
The gang. So then Keith and Harmony go to the movie. After the movie, Harmony is like, is this like what you do? And they had seen the Maltese Falcon. And he's like, no, I'm more like Maltese dogs is what I end up finding. And then he shakes her hand and then hugs her goodbye. Super awkward. Love it.
Very awkward. Yep. Would have been less awkward just touching elbows.
Just touching elbows?
Just touching elbows. That's what I'm saying. The barometer on this hug was very awkward.
Okay, so do you think was it as awkward as the Draco Malfoy Voldemort hug at the end of the 7th Harry Potter, the Battle of Hogwarts scene?
Yeah, more awkward.
More awkward?
Because it's awkward in Harry Potter, but Voldemort, is all in it, right?
Uh-huh.
It seems like both parties in this case are that they need they're at a middle school dance that they need to save room for Jesus or something, or it's like a little kids being forced. It's like, well, go hug your cousin goodbye or something. It's like,
we will not be doing that to our children.
Yeah, I know.
They get bodily consent, bodily autonomy.
Yeah. So while Draco didn't want to be hugged, Voldemort's like, bring it in, boy.
I don't remember that line. Maybe we should let you retell the 7th Harry Potter movie too.
I can't do a good Voldemort voice. I'll try. Maybe if I just get
Abracadabra. I love the way he yells it in the last one because it just doesn't make any fucking sense. It's like, why is he winded? He was standing.
I mean, he's frail.
Why? He built a new body.
All the time. That's him.
I love it.
Uh-oh. All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah,
we can move on. Then Veronica sneaking in the dean's office because she wants to...
She has Weevil's keys.
Yeah, which apparently gets her everywhere. And Weevil apparently left her the keys when he's out of town. Bad idea.
I mean, but also at least it gets them out of his house. No one will steal them.
That's true. And maybe Weevil is just maybe she kind of nudged him into it.
Yeah. Or she broke into his house and stole his keys.
Yeah, that's actually probably the more likely scenario. Anyway, she has these keys apparently access any of the high palaces, including the dean's office and later dorm rooms, which is bananas.
Yeah, there's a master dorm room key. That's what the RAs have.
Would it be on the janitor's keys?
Yeah, they had the cleaning people come into our rooms every week. There's a cleaning lady that came into your dorm room and cleaned it every week.
You're right. I forgot about this.
We loved ours. I can't remember her name, but we made her cookies at Christmas.
Oh, that's nice.
We loved her because she didn't obviously she didn't rat us out for anything. She didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But she's like, oh, like I'll come back later. And we were like, no, we'll just like move or get out of the room for a couple minutes. And then she'd come get us from the common room when we were done and be like, your room's done.
Oh, that's nice.
Nicest lady.
But yeah, so she breaks in the dean's office trying to find this person who supposedly wrote her paper a year ago. Is looking through his files, and in walks the dean.
Well, okay. Really quick back to the dorm room thing.
Okay.
Thinking about it. Could you imagine how gross those rooms would be if they didn't have someone come clean them every
absolutely.
week?
It'd be disgusting because no one would do it, or it'd be like a very small portion of people that would do it.
Mm-hmm. You didn't have a vacuum.
No, or cleaning supplies.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I was just like, God, could you imagine those bathrooms?
Brutal. Just brutal.
There's a reason why you didn't have mold in your college bathroom, but you sure did in the house you lived in.
Damn right.
But yeah, so Veronica's like, oh, Dina Ling, why are you here? And he's like, oh, I like to stay here and watch boxing and eat popcorn when my wife is out of town or whatever.
Yeah,
so
or is busy, like gonna be home late.
So that I can smoke my cigar in my room, in my office.
Yeah, watch boxing and drink alcohol.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah, very much like, this old ball and chain at home.
And Veronica's like, oh, I'm just here because I thought I left an earring.
Yeah, and he's like, all right, whatever, look.
Yeah, just,
Does not care.
You want some popcorn?
Yeah, pretty much.
Wallace is in the library.
Yes.
Veronica goes to check on him. She's like, hey, Wally, how you doing?
Right.
And he's like, hi, because he has his headphones on.
Mm-hmm.
And why do I feel like you were that person?
I was definitely
We
that
only
person.
studied in the library together once.
Yeah. I don't know if I've talked about it on this podcast, but I you know the story. That I was like in the library and I always listen. I mean, that's just the music. I was listening to loud techno. And my headphones weren't plugged in all the way, and I was just jamming, and I didn't notice because they're still coming through my headphones.
It's like one of my biggest fears. I always check my music because of that.
I was sitting at a table with like 8 other people, so it's like one of those open ones. And then the person I was there with like tapped me on the shoulder and was just like, hey, Brenton, your headphones are like unplugged. And I look around and everybody's looking at me, and there's this one dude sitting across from me who is like absolutely wants to just like crack up laughing, but is like not being very polite about it, but he just has the biggest smile on his face. It's like, all right, let's just push this all the way in. Thank you, Aaron. And
we'll carry on.
Yep.
That's funny. Yeah, I didn't like, I liked going to the library with people who were actually going to do something, or I had to sit on a floor where other people were being productive but not near me, because watching other people do things would make me do things, so I couldn't go like sit in a quiet corner by myself. But if I was with people that were like going to like acknowledge me too often, then I was going to talk.
Yeah, luckily, like, so I mean, the people I went with were friends, but we were all like heads down, and I think we were working on the same project. What was this class? I can't remember correctly. I'm like, what class did I have with Aaron? But I can't remember what class it was. But whatever, we were all just at the library and like heads down for the most part.
You were pajamming.
Yeah.
I used to listen to white noise because I can't listen to music if I want to do things.
Yeah.
Because I will just have a karaoke party.
You didn't listen to lo-fi beats to study to?
No, I'll start dancing.
Oh, okay.
I'll get, grooving, and then I'm like, I'm not writing a paper, I'm writing a song. Sometimes I do it when I had to do poetry because I took a couple English classes where we had to like emulate other people's poetry, so I tried to find music that made me feel like that vibe.
Yeah, I getcha.
But then I spent like an hour doing that instead of just writing the fucking like 4 stanza poem.
I would put together playlists depending on my mood.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of energy.
I understand.
Whatever happened on my music. But yeah, so Wallace is like, I'm gonna stay in my class. I just need to see her higher on every test going forward and I'll pass. And she's like, good job, Wally.
Yeah. Get after it.
And so then back to our plagiarism plotline. Rory Finch at Hearst College was the email
There
account.
you go.
And
Rory
it was
Finch.
set up 3 days ago, like before the paper was, or when the paper was uploaded, basically. So Veronica's like, gotta look into that. Piz is like, are you ready for some bowling? Wallace is like, no way, I gotta stay home to read and do my homework or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we read Wallace's whiteboard next to his desk, which said things like Monday, learn to read. Tuesday, learn to write. Wednesday, stop counting on toes.
You did a very good job catching this.
I made you pause it and go back because I saw the whiteboard and I was like, this is just fucking weird. Some weird stuff happening on this whiteboard.
Very good Easter egg.
And then Veronica's at home getting ready for bowling. She's like, hi, Dad, I'm home. And he's like, oh, I've got a phone call. I'm making a date with Harmony. And she's like, were you making a date? And he was like, no. She's just my friend. We're going to meet for drinks and talk.
Mm-hmm.
And Veronica's like, uh-huh, sure, Dad. Lie to yourself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Lie to me.
And then Veronica's like, okay, I'm going to go get Logan to go to bowling. And she's like, honey, do you have some inside connections with the staff here? And he's like, yeah, meet my friend Tina, who looks weirdly like Billy Lord, but like Billy Lord wouldn't have been old enough to be this role.
Yeah. And it's this weird scene of like Veronica being territorial and the girl behind the desk just kind of being like, yeah, cool. All right.
You're
yeah,
like,
friend of yours. Yeah. It seems very above board. Like this person is just
yeah,
like,
Tina doesn't give a fuck.
yeah, like Logan's just like a chill dude.
Yeah, like I'm here doing my job and he tips well.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. She's like, I don't care. I'm not invested in this. I don't make that much money.
So Tina's like, Veronica's like, Tina, can you find out who can tell us who Rory Finch was? And she's like, Rory Finch has a P.O. box and paid in cash. So, like, I'll let you know if they check back in, but that's all I can do. And Veronica's like, thanks, Tina. I'm going to not be misogynistic about this, which is not true. She's very possessive.
Very, very much so.
And then we go bowling. Piz is there. Logan is there. Veronica's there. Parker's there.
Yep.
And we're like, what a fun, weird group.
Yep. Parker is like, Piz is mortified because it looks like he invited Veronica
on
a date and Logan showed up. Parker is mortified because it looks like Veronica is trying to set her up with someone. But once they start bowling and the competitiveness comes out, Parker is more than happy to crush everybody.
Yeah, Parker and Logan versus Piz and Veronica, I believe. Yeah. And they absolutely crush everyone. And
Piz being the type of guy who just can't win at anything, which is tremendous.
But he does have really good bowling stance.
Really? I didn't notice that.
When I watched him, he did like, you know when you watch the Flintstones and they did the bowling?
Yeah.
And then they did the leg cross, like the full leg cross thing. That's what Piz was doing.
I didn't see any tiptoes up to the line though.
Well, he might be afraid to slide over.
Yeah. Would it surprise you that was like a thing at like kids' birthday parties that you tried to bowl like the Flintstones? The Flintstone. Fred, the only one we recognize. No.
I never went to a bowling alley birthday party.
Oh, really?
Katie was the first person to take me bowling.
Wow.
And she was in high school. I was like 8 or 9, maybe 9. She took David and I bowling.
There was one two towns over from us.
And then my dad took us once, like while my parents were getting divorced. That's
a good time.
That's where my brother's my backpack got stolen. I was like 10 or 11 with David's Nintendo in it.
Oh God, that's awful.
Yeah, it was his which one was it? Not the DS that flipped, but the SP?
The SP is the one that closed.
Oh, so it was the DS.
It was the Advance.
Advance, yeah, because it was like the weird shape. It was shaped like a real controller, I guess.
Yeah, like a rectangle-ish, but it tapered in around the sides.
Yeah, it was like a rectangle and an oval had a baby.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a real shape that was used there.
Couldn't tell you.
It's like a hexagon or something, but
rhombus?
stretched out. It's not a rhombus.
Inverted rhombus. Concave rhombus.
Oh my God. But yeah, and then I went like a couple times like in high school, but like before that, I never went bowling. So I didn't bowl until I was like big enough to use the regular balls.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, no, we had bumpers and light
We
balls.
put the bumpers up because we all sucked.
There you go. Yeah, I didn't use. I used bumpers for a very long time.
If we went bowling today, I would probably just be like, let's put the bumpers up.
Okay.
We did that on bid day when
Seems
we did.
like a bad idea right now. Do you want to go though? I mean,
no,
no.
Okay. I meant like, if we went as adults.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
When we went for my sorority, which would have now been like 8 years ago, but we put the bumpers up on the group I was with because I was like, none of us are hitting any pins. So we
need to pull them up.
Well, and it's just like, you've got these new girls who are like, oh, I thought we were gonna like go have a party, and you're at the fucking bowling alley. I'm like, yeah. Girl, yeah. I was supposed to be with didn't even show up. Yeah. I was so tired and so overwhelmed that I cried in the bathroom for a few minutes.
Nice.
Not from bowling. It wasn't.
I don't care how good you bowl.
It was not about that.
We don't need to have you crying over gutter balls again.
It was literally about the fact that I hadn't slept in like 3 days, and then I was at a bowling alley.
Yeah, loud noises, crashing.
Yeah, I think it was a little sensory overload.
A lot of people going woo.
And it was also the one in Santa Barbara was always dark. It always had glow lights on. All the bowling alleys in my hometown had lights.
Like when it was like evening, you mean?
No, like during the day, even when you went out on the floor at that bowling alley, it was dim.
Okay.
I hated it. I hate bowling. I had to plan a work event for bowling
we
once.
don't have to go bowling. No bowling.
It's just loud.
It is.
It's like fun if it's like you're the only people there. We did go once while the older people were doing their league.
Nice.
That was fun. I love old people.
Yeah,
I would bowl with old
That'd
people.
That'd be fun.
I could not. No, you could not play in this league.
They're very good.
They were very good.
Yeah.
Imagine this: the Central Valley. There's nothing to fucking do in summer. It's 147. You're 80. This is how you socialize with your friends, and you've been doing it for 40 years.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, John's got the 300 up there, like displayed on the board.
Yeah. I'm like, I hit 100.
Friend of mine, Max, got 230, I think, one bowling class. That was insane.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah, no, not for me. But they had a lot of fun bowling because Parker's fun, and she's like, you know what? What's the story with Piz? Like, do you think maybe I could get at him? And Veronica's like, ooh, I
get at him.
I can check, I guess. And then she's like really nervous about checking because she is the angel of death when it comes to relationships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's that little thing being teed up of like, oh, well, Piz is into Veronica.
Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that she can't,
Yeah.
Logan's like, hey, by the way, Rorschach got caught taking 2 tests.
Rorschach.
I wrote Rorschach like
Rorschach.
the test.
Yep, like the test or the Watchmen character, either way.
For the guy from Boy Meets World.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is a fun thing to just drop.
And Veronica's like, wow, that's weird. They had gone back to the Neptune Grand when this was happening. They ordered room service.
Mm-hmm.
So then someone comes in with their room service. And Veronica's like, I know that voice.
Ratner.
It's Jeff Ratner. And she's like, hey, you work here. We know that the person who set up that email address at Hearst College did it from here. We know that they had stayed here under that name. Was it you, Mr. already working at the Neptune Grand?
Mm-hmm. And he's like, this is for all the workers.
And he's like, I just, like you're just an asshole because you couldn't remember me even though I drop off your food.
Right.
And like, that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, Logan is probably a horrible hotel guest.
And then Veronica just kind of rips him a new one and then carries on.
Yep.
Then we cut over to Wallace. He's in bed. His alarm's going off. Just like me in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Piz, me, coming back from my shower.
Yeah, Piz is like, hey, are you dead? Your alarm's going off. Are you dead? Wallace wakes up, runs out of the room because he missed his alarm and he's got to get to practice. He's late to practice.
And Coach is like, yep, you got to watch out for your partying now. Go suit up.
Yeah, he's like, you got to quit partying. And Wallace is like, LOL.
Yeah, if only.
Veronica's now got to ask Piz what he thinks of Parker, and she's like, "Hey Piz, what do you think of Parker?" And Piz is like, "She's not my type." And Veronica's like, "Oh, what is your type?" And he's like, I don't know, but she's not it. And Veronica's like, "Oh well, she thought you were cute." But
I like a different blonde.
While Veronica's having to ask Piz, she does have a little bit of a meltdown talking about how she did this in like 3rd grade and ruined a relationship. And I was like, I get that.
It's tough.
Not me. I was always like a little bit mind gamey. I was like, let's plant some seeds. Don't you think?
Could never do that.
Don't you think Parker's cute?
No.
I feel like, oh, really?
No.
Huh. Well, I know a lot of the other boys think she's cute.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was me.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Hey, Brenton, you would tell me if someone liked me, right? Yep. Yep. Awful little kid.
Boys were afraid of me.
Yeah. I just didn't pick up on that sort of stuff. I'm thinking about Lord of the Rings over here. I don't have no time for relationships.
I'm in the Shire. I'm not in a relationship.
Still thinking back on episode 2 of Star Wars. So, yeah, got a pretty busy schedule over here.
Brenton, if I dressed up as Princess Leia, would you want to dress up as Luke for Halloween?
Sure, I really like Luke.
Oh my god. No, I would have never. I would have been like, I don't give a fuck what boys are doing.
I think that means she wants to go trick or treating with you. Oh, no.
Brenton, I'm allergic to peanut butter. Do you want all my Reese's cups?
No, I don't like Reese's cups.
Oh, what do you? I really like Twizzlers.
That's cool. Dense boy.
That's so sad. These poor girls. I'm so glad you.
I'm not saying it happened like all the time or anything, but the few instances where it's just like, oh yeah, little kid Brendan was not really being helpful.
My mom used to always tell me, she's like, that boy likes you, and I'm like, no, he doesn't. And she's like, yeah, he does, but he's never gonna say anything because you scare him. She's like, and now that I've told you this, you're really going to scare him. And I was like, that's probably accurate. I don't know why I was perceived as scary.
Straight shooter. Pew pew. Pew pew. Are you drawing your pistols?
Yeah, well, I did carry my water gun in my sock, like true. I mentioned.
Gonna get hosed down.
That's right. But yeah, Wallace, on the other hand, is in class. He got a 67% on his test, and the teacher's like, doing a little better. And I'm like, what a fucking dick.
Yeah. What do you say? He's like, yeah, great improvement. It's like, what the fuck? Like, you're a professor.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know what your issue is with athletes. It was kind of like the writing for PR class I took, and the professor hated Greek life and would intentionally like shit on Greek life in her like lectures and stuff. And it's like, okay, now, like, I'm not huge to like, Greek life person, but you're a professor, and like they do the same work everybody else does. So like, why don't you shut up?
Mm-hmm.
You're like a 50-year-old woman. Like, that's not like take swings at sororities.
Yeah. Well, and it's don't take swings. You can take swings at the organization without taking swings at the participants.
Yeah, there you go.
It's very much like,
don't blame the 20-year-old that's in your class just trying to like learn.
I was thinking about that earlier because I was writing about that for a future blog post. Spoiler alert. You can find my blog at butreallythough.com/blog. But I was thinking about how like when I joined a sorority, it was for like very innocent reasons in terms of like wanting friends and wanting sisterhood and wanting a safe place to live and wanting a way to socialize where like I knew people would have my back because we did live in such a weird fucking area.
Mm-hmm.
But also it was it's not the fault of the other girls in the organization for how poorly, I mean, it's their fault for their own individual actions, I guess, if you want to say, but like also we were all 19, like you can't hold that over anyone, but it is the fault of the people who organize these organizations for allowing certain things to happen or for permitting behaviors or encouraging behaviors.
Totally.
And that's where I think it's so much like an MLM or like a pyramid scheme, any sort of facet of that. It's like, okay, like join us, we love bomb you, we take care of you, and now let's how are we making money off you?
Yeah.
It's just, it's the fault of the company. It's not the fault of the person that falls for it.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that is your fault is if you intentionally mislead people to get them to join with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn. Like, don't blame the 20-year-old.
No, blame the 50-year-old advisor who's running the show.
Right. Even it's an attitude thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's stupid.
Yeah, and most of the really nice girls I met in college were for the most part in Greek life in some way, shape, or form.
There you go.
But I also think it was out of necessity because of where we went. Because Greek life wasn't necessary. It wasn't prominent. It wasn't required.
Gotcha. Yeah, it was completely different at like bigger schools and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or I remember going to when my friend was going to SDSU. It's like, this is a very different sort of vibe here. And even, I wouldn't say like it was like this open arms at our school, but like it was much different when it's like, oh, this is the scene.
Mm-hmm. Like this is all you. Yeah, if you want to party, you have to go to a frat.
Totally. Like I could completely avoid Greek life, and I was just fine.
Yeah.
But
I think it was only 10% of the school or something like that. Like it was pretty small.
Yeah, when you had to get like funneled in like at different schools, it was like, I don't like this vibe here. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
But so then Parker's like, hey, let's go stop by the radio show.
Yeah. And Veronica did not break the news to her that Piz was not interested.
Yeah, so she's kind of like, hey, Piz. And then he's like, oh, we got to get out of here. No, thank you. I don't really want to like vibe with this because the next person's coming in and they have a club and house show.
Yeah.
And it's Mercer.
Yep, totally checks out.
Uh-huh. And then Parker's like walks past Mercer and she's like, oh God, like I have to go. And Veronica's like, what's wrong? And she's like, I've smelled that cologne before that Mercer's wearing. I smelled it the night I was raped. Like I had a sense memory.
Mm-hmm.
And so then Veronica's like, oh, huh. So
I was kind of secretly hoping it was this guy.
So then Veronica's like, oh, well, I've still got Weevil's keys. So she sneaks into Mercer's room and she uses a sock so she doesn't leave fingerprints. And she opens his drawer and finds that he has clippers and drugs.
Yep.
Which what are they? GHB.
Yeah, so she goes to Lamb and like mentions it to Lamb, like, need to do that. And he's like, the cash box that got taken from the casino had GHB in it. And
it's like, oh, that wasn't a reason to investigate this boy's room?
Yeah, I know. He's like, you know what? That was funny. Now that I think about it, and then all the victims were dosed with GHB, and you kind of go, "Oh, you're just putting that together now, genius."
Mm-hmm. Then we cut back to Wallace. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna throw away my chance to be a starting player on the team. I'm gonna take the quarter off, and I'm gonna study. And the coach is like, you don't. He's like, I'll give up my scholarship, or whatever. And the coach is like, you don't have to give up your scholarship, whatever. But like,
extremely understanding for a college.
But like, you do realize that this will keep you on the bench for the entire quarter or the entire season. He's like, that's fine. I'll play next year once I know what I'm doing. And then Veronica gets a call from Tina.
Dun-dun.
Rory Finch is in room 906. So Veronica is heading up there. She sees Keith. He's in the bar. He has 2 martinis. She's like, hey, excuse me, like you're on a date with this woman. And he's like, we're just friends.
Yeah.
And Veronica's like, whatever, Dad. Just be safe. Use a condom.
Just look at what you're doing, dude.
She heads up to Rory Finch's room, knocks on the door. Room 906. The door opens. Who is it? Mrs. Odell, the dean's wife.
Uh-huh.
And then she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I must have the wrong room. Like my boyfriend's upstairs. My bad. Then she walks away and she sees her teacher in the hallway. And he's like, Veronica, what are you doing here? And she's like, oh, I got off on the wrong floor. Haha. And he's like, yeah. And then he turns the corner and goes into room 906. And so she's like, oh my God, Mr. Landry is hooking up with the dean's wife, or at least they're sharing a hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. Maybe they're just playing. They're just playing cards.
Exactly.
We go
back poker
down to Harmony and Keith down in the lobby, and Harmony's like, I want to be with you, so I got us a room. If that happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And Keith is like, I can't do this. This is bad. Gets in his car. He leaves. He gets hit by another car.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
T-boned.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, and then he's like, you know what? I have to go back and I have to sleep with this woman.
Yeah, get to a hospital.
And I'm like, what about your concussion?
Right. What is going on?
Also, Veronica is not the person you want to see after you almost die.
Right. You don't like let your daughter know, hey, I almost died and the car's fucking totaled.
You're thinking with your winky, not your head. Wrong head,
Yeah.
my dude.
And let me tell you, I'm sure in a car accident, I would not be thinking with my winky.
You don't think with your winky in car accidents?
No, you're probably like, oh my God, I almost died. Okay, let's start thinking through. We need to figure out what to do with this. Am I injured? I probably need to go get help. Who else is in the car? How are we doing?
Yeah. It's a lot.
Let's get a hotel room right now.
I'm gonna go up to her room. Veronica in the morning is like, Dad, where are you? I'm making breakfast, and Dad is not home.
Much to our dismay.
Veronica.
You just had to wait till she gave up, Keith. You don't know she's going to give up onto her current marriage.
Yeah, Veronica then goes to the TA and she's like, whoever posted my paper did this. You planted this trail to Rory Finch. And the TA is like, maybe I did do this. Maybe I wanted you to know who the professor really is. I was doing you a favor. And Veronica's like, what the fuck?
Right. I don't care. Like, he could be like a decent mentor and stuff. And what he's doing in his like private sexual life, even if it is like
not cool
infidelity, like
yeah, as long as if he'd slept with other students,
that'd be different.
That's where I have my problem.
Right. And Tim alludes that this isn't the first, so we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know what happened. Then the TA has a board, like a crime board, like you see in any sort of crime movie, with all the
red string,
the rape cases on it, and he's like, there's no DNA in any of the rape cases. Which does make sense because in the one in Claire's thing, she's like, yeah, apparently I bought condoms and I took out all the money out of my thing. She's like, so I got raped and I got to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, that's totally, I mean, it seems like you're not going to leave evidence.
Totally. Good thing to know.
Mm-hmm. Then the dean is like, hey, Veronica, want to have lunch with me? And she's like, why are you eating out here? And he's like, I hate college kids. And she's like, why are you here? And he's like, I just like these sandwiches.
Yeah. Uh-huh. The most cantankerous person on campus.
And then
I will say I do find the dean stuff for as like as much of an asshole as he is, very entertaining.
Yeah, he also plays a role on The West Wing that I find annoying and very entertaining.
Yeah. He is amazing in Lady Dynamite. That's probably my favorite role of his.
And so then Logan comes up.
I feel like I'm like the only person that loves that show. Nobody remembers that show.
Lady Dynamite?
Mm-hmm.
We watched it.
Yeah, I just meant like as a cultural thing. It didn't get like picked up.
Well, people aren't exactly a big fan of women doing funny things.
That's true.
We don't like women when they're uncanny.
Oh, yeah. It's fucking great. At least that first season. The second season's a little weird in the not fun way.
But then Logan comes up and he's like, I need to talk to you. Mercer didn't do it. He was with me the night of the rape this summer. And Veronica's like, where were you? And he's like, I can't tell you. He's like, but you have to help.
Dun, dun, dun.
Finn.
This boy does not like telling Veronica where he is.
No. And you know what that means? You over.
Kill him?
No.
Oh.
I think every now and then of this James Corden carpool, like I don't know if it was a carpool karaoke or just like a ride he did with Michelle Obama.
Okay.
Because usually he does it with people and they like sing, but like I don't.
When you just say James Corden carpool, it sounds like he's like picking up his staff on the way to work.
That'd be so funny. But it was Michelle Obama and they're driving around DC, by the White House, and he's like, "Oh, is your husband in there?" And she's like, "He better be. That's where he said he was." She's like, "Should I call him?" Or something like that. And I was just like, "Yeah, that is me."
That's a good one.
Yeah.
But yeah, episode.
It's a womp womp. Not my favorite.
No, it is not.
But we made it through.
We did.
It's gross and toxic, and it makes me angry, and it gives me a soapbox to get on, I guess.
If we had to find things to redeem about it, I guess.
But yeah, shall we plug?
Yeah.
When we are not yelling into these microphones in our office.
Or the abyss.
Or the abyss. I do yell into the abyss at least once a week.
Mm-hmm.
You can find me at butreallythough.com. Though is spelled THO. I am a life and career coach. I help people get their shit together. I help them have hard conversations with people. I help them make plans to change their lives. I help them find ways to find more joy in their life. I do lots of fun things. So if you are feeling a little lost, scared, concerned, or trying to make a big change and you're like, I don't know where the fuck to start, reach out. I got you. All of my contact information is on my website, but really though, or you can find me on Instagram at but really though, but it's spelled BTRLYTHL. And if you like listening to us talk nonstop, you can just write another podcast right before this, right after this. I guess right before this,
Right before
technically.
this. Yep.
On Wednesdays, we release episodes of our podcast, But Really Though, spelled just like my brand and my business. But it is a podcast where we talk about all things that interest us, whether it be conspiracy theories, urban legends, tall tales, things we didn't learn in history, aliens,
subcultures, weird towns.
Yeah, we talk about anything and everything at this point, and we're always willing to talk about something you're interested in. So if you want to send us an email with things that interest you, we're happy to do that too. You can send it to our Mars Rewatch email.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, that is marsrewatch@gmail.com. And you can find us on Twitter and Facebook, also at Mars Rewatch. And you can find me on Twitter at Pyle Brenton. That's PYLEBRENTON.
All right. Stay toasted, marshmallows.